A new day is coming to New Guinea. It comes quietly, at first slowly, gently pushing back the night sky with its own birth of color. It is very still, and the air is a little sweet from the scent of rain on the jungle. A man can give his heart to a new day and his hopes. A man can look up at a new dawn with all his soul and feel it grow into his being. And sometimes he will ache with loneliness, and in his own way will think a prayer for those who are flying into the coming day.
12th October 1943, the target for today is Rabaul. The striking force will consist of 326 airplanes, 114 Mitchells, 87 Liberators, and 125 Lightnings. The Mitchells will hit first, coming in at treetop height, strafing and dropping parachute fragmentation bombs. They will attack Ropopo and Bunakanau strips. The Liberators will follow 45 minutes later to destroy shipping in Simpson Harbor.
And the man who watches from the ground has given of himself and is part of that mission, and failure of airplane is part his failure, and death of a friend is dying a bit himself. No man is left behind on a mission. Therefore, all men have a right to ask, is a mission a sudden idea, an opportunist impulse? What is a mission?
Mission to Rabaul was conceived at a time when the Japanese occupied New Guinea as far as Salamaua. Their air bases formed a shrewdly devised chain of defense with seldom more than 150 miles between links. Truk and Rabaul were the key positions, Rabaul the keystone. If the Japanese should lose Rabaul, New Guinea, New Britain, New Ireland, Truk, and the secondary islands would become untenable. They announced Rabaul's profound significance by building it into the strongest base in the Southwest Pacific area. Roughly, Rabaul is 500 miles from Port Moresby. Port Moresby is 550 miles from Wewak. Wewak is 600 miles from Rabaul. To strike Rabaul, it is first necessary to neutralize the right flank as far as north as Wewak.
These are the bombers' best friends, the fighters, the swift destroyers of the air who drive off enemy planes while bombers do their jobs. Fighters don't have the range of bombers. Marilinan is approximately 40 miles from Japanese-held Leh and 200 miles from Japanese-held Wewak. Here was the logical location for fighter strips which would make possible the proposed strikes on Wewak. An unique airborne operation, perhaps the only one of its kind. Every man, every tool, every weapon, every drop of gasoline was brought in by air. It was not easy. Men fought the jungle, mud, and malaria, were wet and hungry much of the time. The Japanese took a poor view of the whole idea and tried to interfere, even shot down several transports. Here was a job to do, and it was done. ready on time.
August 14th. Japanese Naval Air Service units relieve Army Air Service units in the New Britain area for operations in New Guinea. The enemy is preparing for increased activity both on the ground and in the air, most likely in the Salamaua area, where his position is in danger. August 16th, Wewak. Bomber strength has been increased from 85 on 3rd August to 115 on 13th August. The strips of Wewak are crowded with fighters.
August 17th, the time has come for the 5th Air Force to strike Wewak.
Early on the morning of 17th August, the heavy bombers hit Wewak from 6,000 to 8,000 feet. More than 84 tons of bombs are dropped. Many fires are started. Much damage is done to the strips and to shipping in the harbor. For the first time, the Mitchells came over. This is what they saw and destroyed. 115 to 120 Japanese airplanes.
Salamaua was the first enemy area to feel the effects of the Wewak strike. By 25th August, Allied ground forces were firmly established on a ridge overlooking Salamaua. The Japanese ground installations were strong and well defended, but there was practically no air opposition.
Air support now becomes a primary function. Almost every day, the Salamaua area is strafed. £1,000-pound bombs are dropped. Japanese are blasted out of Komiatum and Roosevelt Ridge surrounding Salamaua.
The jungle here was deep and impenetrable. The troops needed food, medical supplies, ammunition. This is a jungle trail, and these are the native carriers. Friendly, willing, tireless. They did their best, but it could never be good enough. So once again, the troop carriers flew into combat, unarmed, unarmored, always with a fighter escort. They flew in precise formations over enemy lines to drop the needed supplies. Madagascar, Skindiwal, Mubo, Goodview, other strange names, all were supplied by dropping. Days were saved and countless lives. The men with deep affection called them the biscuit bombers. Now Salamaua was in danger. If Salamaua fell, Ley must surely fall. The Japanese, caught by surprise at Wewak, tried desperately to establish major forward bases at Hansa Bay and Alexishafen.
Hansa Bay is crowded with barges, shipping. From Hansa Bay, the Japanese are sending supplies and men to reinforce the Salamaua area. Hansa Bay is hit by 98 heavy and medium bombers. Shipping, barges, ground installations are shattered by the impact of 196 tons of bombs. Then Alexishafen. Here are more supplies and men for the Salamaua area. These men and supplies must be prevented from reaching the forward areas.
Continuous reconnaissance indicated most of the supplies were coming from New Britain, specifically Cape Gloucester and Borgen Bay. Suddenly, in the first days of September, the full weight of the 5th Air Force attack shifted to this area.
Japanese barge loaded to capacity will carry rations for 6,200 men for 1 day. 3 barge loads per day will supply normal rations to a Japanese triangular division of 18,500. 50 barges will supply normal rations to a triangular division at a distance of 300 miles. Approximately 250 barges plying between New Britain and New Guinea, 94 are sunk in 1 month. The barge business becomes unhealthy and Japanese lose their stomach for this kind of dangerous living. Supplies from New Britain diminish.
Hopoi is about 20 miles east of Leh. The Japanese High Command must have forgotten all about this bit of coast as a possible beachhead. Or perhaps they were confused by the diversification of the 5th Air Force tactics. It is reasonable to assume they believed Salamaua was the first objective and Leh the problem of an indefinite future. They were encouraged to believe the last.
Whatever the reason, the Japanese are again caught by surprise on the 4th September. At precisely 7 a.m., Allied troops effect a landing at Bulu Plantation and the mouth of the Busu River. Leh is now cut off from the east.
The pattern took shape rapidly. September 5th witnessed the first display of still another offensive weapon, the paratroops. And once again, the troop carriers did their share. The objective, Nadzab, only 16 miles west of Leh. Hopoi to the east, now Nadzab to the west. The day starts early in this kind of a job. The transports have been waiting all night. With the dawn, the paratroopers arrive, as planned. They've had breakfast, a good one because no man knows when he will eat again. But he doesn't seem to mind. At last he'll have a chance to jump into combat. He's been waiting a long time, waiting and training. And now the drudgery is over and the fun is about to begin. Once again, planning and coordination dominate the immediate future of history. Logical that the mediums will first strafe the area. It's logical there should be sufficient fighter cover to keep away any Japanese intruders. Logic demands there be a smoke screen to hide the operation from the curious or the inhospitable. Finally, logic leads to an inevitable conclusion. Take a deep breath and jump.
Even as the paratroopers are taking NHzab, the Australian 7th Division is moving up the Marken Valley to relieve them. Their engineers build pontoon bridges across the Markham River. Allied small naval craft speed up the Markham, searching for enemy riverboats. The valley is alive with activity.
No time was lost in consolidating this new advanced base. As troop carriers brought in men and supplies, new strips were already being constructed. Step by step, according to plan, Mission to Rabaul came closer. There was a driving force, an idea which gave tired men no rest. It was more than a command. It was logic sublimated to faith. Advance the bomber line. Advance the bomber line.
The Japanese Air Force suddenly comes to life, makes a feeble attempt to bomb NHzab. There are no fighters at NHzab yet, not even Akak. But the Japanese have become timid. They make one pass, hurry away. They leave a fire in the kunai grass, miss the strip entirely. Work goes on as if nothing had happened.
Salamaua was taken September 11th. Ley was now cut off from every land route. The Japanese had only two ways of supplying Ley, by submarine or by air, and each must be done at night because of Allied air superiority.
The Japanese crumble under the sustained attack of heavy and medium bombers. The bombing is so intense that an Australian general finally asked that it be stopped, remarking the only obstacle in the way of an immediate occupation of Ley is the 5th Air Force.
December 16th at 12:40, Lae was taken, and the last threat to southern New Guinea and the eastern Australian mainland was eliminated. As at Hope Buoy, there was no enemy opposition left.
And so at last we come to Lae, one of the most beautiful harbors in the romantic South Seas. Ah, it is so peaceful, so lovely looking from the terrace across the sapphire blue harbor to the aerodrome. It thrills us to the very core to observe the heavenly ruins of what had once been the homes of the Japanese. We wanted to relax here, but there was quite an interesting family waiting for us on the strip, so we gathered our cameras and hurried off. We found the family scattered about the strip in a kind of gay disorder. The family had the quaintest names. This is Zeke. Betty. Little Sally. Good old Hamp. There's little Nell. And finally, Oscar. Then we gathered a few souvenirs and regretfully took our departure from this romantic spot.
Finchhaven is like a finger pointing threateningly at Cape Gloucester and Madang. The Japanese worked hard to build up Finchhaven as a major base. It was now exposed to every kind of attack. Finchhaven was next. The mediums led the way in, hitting Langemak Bay with everything they had.
Of September, Allied forces land at Finchhaven near the Xung River in a perfectly coordinated operation which includes Australian troops, American troops, and the U.S. Navy, all under the constant air cover of the 5th Air Force. Not a ship is hit, not a man lost.
The Japanese were desperately attempting to restore Wewak to its former strength. The Japanese Army Air Service could no longer stand by helplessly while its harried ground forces suffered heavy reverses without air support. Again, the strips were loaded. 27th September. The time had come to strike Wewak another crushing blow.
Still again, the Japanese were caught by surprise. 72 tons of 500 and 1,000-pound bombs, 2,160 parachute fragmentation bombs were dropped. 167,275 rounds of machine gun bullets were fired. An estimated 60 Japanese aircraft were destroyed. Others were bombed and strafed with unobserved results. At least 14 fires were started. Flames, smoke, and explosions covered the aerodromes. Several anti-aircraft positions were silenced. All aircraft returned.
"6 weeks. It all happened in 6 weeks. Out of Marilinan grew the first Wewak strike. Out of Wewak came the victories of Salamaua, Ley, Finschhaven. Out of these came control of the Huon Gulf and the Vitia Straits. Now Cape Gloucester on New Britain was only 65 miles away. In 6 weeks, the enemy had lost close to 1,000 airplanes, had lost valuable territory, had lost the battle for air supremacy, had lost the initiative."
October 1943. The enemy is making every effort to strengthen Rabaul. Reconnaissance reveals that some 20 vessels, including warships and large and small merchant ships, have recently entered the harbor. Less than 1 month ago, there were 102 fighters, 50 light bombers, 119 medium bombers. Since then, 100 fighters have been added. Many have gone to other areas, but on October 11th, there are 294 airplanes on the strips of Rabaul. Rabaul is also strongly defended on the ground. There are approximately 93 heavy, 43 medium, 188 light anti-aircraft guns of various caliber, not counting the guns of the naval vessels in the harbor. There are 60,000 troops. Rabaul is the most difficult target in the Southwest Pacific area.
Sometimes a man will look at the dawn, and there will be an emptiness in him for those who did not come back. And in his mind he will see the twisted wreckage and the bullet holes, and he will wonder at the cost of war.
Lieutenant General Kenney, Commanding General, 5th Air Force, makes a decisive survey. Rabaul will be attacked 12th October 1943.
A successful mission starts somewhere back in a factory. It includes a ship crossing an ocean, a harbor, men to unload what the ship has brought, this time bombs for Rabaul, prompt delivery guaranteed. There can be no respite for the men of the repair and maintenance echelons. There are no new airplanes for this show. Those that have flown so well must fly again. The ground crews do their jobs. Some will have worked 18 hours. They have put their bodies and their brains and their souls into these airplanes, and they too are a part of the mission to Rabaul.
A mission is a cumulative process: supply, maintenance. The seemingly mechanical factors of loading machine gun belts, of cleaning and installing guns. Of loading bombs into bomb bays, 1,000-pounders, 500-pounders, parachute fragmentation bombs. mission is a matter of intelligence. Men have worked weeks, even months, studying reconnaissance photos, intelligence reports. How long is the Rapopo Strip? 4,300 by 600 feet. Best landmark, Cape Gazelle, 5 miles east. The approach to Vunakanau Airdrome is good, but bumpy and strong winds owing to uneven terrain. There is a radar installation south of Vunakanau at Tomavatur. Time is important. Split-second timing for perfect coordination. You will rendezvous over Oro Bay at a precise time. You will hit New Britain at a precise time, having followed a precise course. There is more to intelligence. Should you have to sit down somewhere, work your way back from the coast into the mountains, then toward Cape Gloucester, traveling only at night. Carry plenty of silver, as the natives do not know paper money, but avoid the natives as much as possible. They are not guaranteed to be friendly.
Patiently, ingeniously, intelligence puts the parts together, and for them each part is their share of the mission to Rabaul. The non-flying crew members have done their jobs. As much as they could, they have given of themselves. Now the flying men take over.
Bay, the rendezvous. Airplanes come in from all directions, meet exactly as planned. No one wants to miss this first strafing of Rabaul. It's a date that's been a long time in the making, and at last the 5th Air Force is on its way to keep it.
Smooth this day, a kind of soft pale green. The sky, too, is soft, and its blue is the blue of an infant's eyes. The white clouds are streaked with the faintest pink, making a pastel world. The weather is fair and warm, and it gets warmer closer to the water.
You will fly at an altitude not to exceed 100 feet. You will maintain radio silence at all times, no matter what happens.
There's a trick to play on the Japanese, a trick having to do with outwitting their radar installations. Maintaining low altitudes will bring the airplanes in under their radar beams. Radio silence will keep the air clear.
It's a long ride. More than 2 hours have gone by. It's getting warmer, too. There it is, the coast of New Britain.
Fighters. There they are, exactly on time, and a welcome sight. Now let's go in and keep a date. First, Guadalcanal.
Japanese airplanes get off the ground. The fighters are waiting. There goes the Japanese HEM. The lightning is hot after him. There was a Japanese HEM. A plume of black smoke is its tombstone.
And now Rapopo.
is in flames. 100 grounded aircraft are destroyed, 51 greatly damaged, 26 Japanese airplanes are shot down. Aerodrome installations suffer heavy destruction. There is practically no interception, and Ack is relatively weak and inaccurate.
Once again, the Japanese were surprised. At Wewak, 17th August, it was the Japanese Army Air Service. At Rabaul, 12th October, it was the Japanese Naval Air Service. Each apparently suffers from the same weakness. Each seems to lack the resilience to cope with the various elements of surprise.
The 12th of October mission to Rabaul was successful because of the planned series of missions that preceded it. Every serviceable combat airplane of the 5th Air Force, fighters, bombers, troop carriers, went out day after day, the same squadrons, the same pilots, the same crews in the same airplanes. Day after day, they hit the same targets. Strips cut out of the jungle, installations hidden under coconut trees. No great cities, no factories, no geometrical spectacles of fire and smoke. Just more jungle and more coconuts.
What is a mission? A mission is part of a plan, the product of intelligence, imagination, courage, sleepless nights. A mission will start months before the day of the strike with the scratching of a fighter strip deep in the jungle. It will call for ground and naval operations. It will require the full cooperation of the man with the shovel and the wrench, the laboratory and the drafting board. It will bring death and pain and the unshed tears of friends and the bewildered sorrow of mothers and fathers. In payment for that, there can be only one last definition. A mission is a step forward on a long and carefully mapped road to victory.